Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Free Thought Generation podcast. I'm Nate, your host, and with me is my son, Alex.
Hey, what's going on, my fellow Americans?
Okay, before we get into today's topic, which is, mental health and some of the solutions that we are doing to help us, let's talk about the last episode, dude. First off, I want to know, let the listeners know how you feel after the first episode, even though it was very hard to do that. And yes, we did do it on the air. Tell me your experience about that.
I feel good. No, I'm just joking. My experience, after. Okay.
How were you feeling after we recorded that episode?
Well, like I said twice now, I felt good, but to get into further detail, it just I don't know. I feel like it changed me. Like it just made me less
down, heavy.
Yeah.
Like something just lifted off your shoulders. Because that's how I felt too.
Felt like when you're just having a hard day, you just want to take a nap.
Yeah.
But you can't take a nap because your mom's always you come home from school and this is for all the kids out there. You come home from school and then you're trying to take a nap after school and then your mom's like, honey, come do the dishes. Yeah. It felt like that I could have just went home and took a nap and my mom didn't say do the dishes. That's how it felt.
Totally understand that. I get it. Yeah. So that's good. All right. So can you say that us practicing this, and no, this for everybody out there, this is not the only time we talk about this stuff. It's not.
No.
We talk about it throughout the day. We talk about it throughout the nights. We've had conversations prior to the recording these episodes, but doing the episodes, camera, lights, the whole shebang, me putting it out there, can you say that it is helping a little bit? Is it helping with on your perspective? Is it helping our bond? Is it helping you as a person? Is it helping you as a teenager grow? And are you learning more about yourself or about, a new skill set, for example?
I'm just yeah. Oh, yeah, what you said. Basically. But also I just feel, I don't know, I just feel different in a good way. I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel different.
Okay, maybe that in the next one, that's something for the next couple of weeks before we record again. That's something that you should dive into more and write this stuff out, dude. Create a journal. I don't think we talked about that yet, but start writing. Write how you feel different, what's changed, what you're getting. What's the word I'm looking for? Revelations from these experiences and through experiences throughout your life, like at school, whenever you're at church or whatever, you know what I mean? Write that stuff out. So at night, I do in the morning, I'll write out a gratitude post, if you will. I was posting there for a minute, but then I realized that was taking way too much more energy than instead of just sitting down and absorbing it myself and writing it out on myself, like my own personal journal. And I create a one thing that I'm grateful for when I first wake up. And then at nighttime, before I go to bed, I'll recap my day and I'll focus only on all the things that were positive in my day and then what I could have done better, right? So I really don't necessarily focus on all the bad stuff or the negative stuff that happened throughout the day. I just brush it away and I'll deal with, I deal with it in a positive manner. But I'll write everything down and then recap my day and be grateful for those experiences. And then here's why I'm grateful for these experiences. And then I get into further detail. And it takes about 10 minutes out of your time at night, man. That journaling is one of the best practices you can do. First, it helps you become more of a better creative writer. You feel just like how you feel now. When talking about this stuff, whether it's on air or off air, when you talk about this stuff, when you talk about mental health and you really start talking with yourself about mental health, you feel 10 times lighter, dude. You all right? Are you itchy?
Yeah. I like fidgeting, all right?
I can tell you're nervous.
How am I nervous?
Because you're fidgeting.
I ain't nervous. I just fidget.
Are you nervous?
think it's just ADHD or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm not. I don't think I'm diagnosed with it, but I'm 100% sure that I actually have ADHD because I can just not sit still.
You feel like are some of your mental health issues that you deal with on a daily basis to yourself, for example? Like what are those? Have you identified them yet?
Depression. That was one of them. I mean, I don't really like. I don't want to say that I have it now because I'm trying to get that out of the way. Because like I'm starting.
How are you trying to get it out of the way?
I'm getting better. I feel like I feel
how. What are you doing to get it out of the way?
Just focusing on the positive, not the negative. Not being a somber person, whatever. Okay. But like other mental health stuff, what would that like be? Like besides like depression, what else is there?
So for me, depression is definitely one of them. Also, so I battled with a lot of self-hatred there for a while. What else? Depression, self-hatred.
I had two of those.
No energy, no motivation. I guess that would all stem from depression. Depression can really drain you, dude. Depression is heavy. But yeah, and then the self-hatred, once I came to the realization about me actually like to the core of a lot of my issues, like my drinking, my drug addiction and stuff like that was all based off self-hatred. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't keeping my mental and my health priority. I was in fact sabotaging it, and it just made things worse. So when I first realized that, okay, it's because I'm not loving myself, why don't I love myself, right? And once I was able to answer that question of why I'm not loving myself, then I realized, like, and even to an extent, dude, almost couldn't answer it. I almost could not answer that. And when I did, like, whenever I came up with a little bit of answers, like, okay, it's because I did this or I did that. I'm an addict and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. I just came up with all these different types of excuses, and it really wasn't going to the core. But whenever I went to the core, I realized I don't know why I don't like myself. Is it because of other people or because I care about other people's opinions? And that's part of one of those excuses that I mentioned, right? And when you get to the core, you realize there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't love yourself. You're making up excuses to not love yourself based off objective sources. All right? It's not when you live on the objective, it affects your internal. But when you start living on the internal, for example, like reverse engineering, if you will, understanding, okay, I don't really know why I don't love myself, then you really start loving yourself because you can't find a reason not to. And then when you start doing that, everything else doesn't matter. And then when you do start loving yourself, it's crazy. This is the crazy thing about it. Like when you do start loving yourself, everything the universe gives back to you, the people in your life, your dreams, just everything comes at you with love. It's crazy, but and vice versa. If you are sitting there hating yourself and depressed, then you're gonna drag or manifest more of that into your life. It works both ways.
I honestly just think that people mistake excuses for mistakes. Like, basically, for example, like what you just said, like, oh, they're making up excuses of why they think, like, why they hate themselves, They're making up excuses saying, like, oh, I'm an alcoholic, I'm all this. I feel like that's mistakes that they're making, and they're trying to turn them into excuses so that they can just feel worse about themselves.
That's exactly what it is. So, the mistakes are essentially the excuses, and mistakes, when they turn into excuses rather than lessons and growing from them, you just go into a negative cycle. It's exactly what happens. You just fall, and you keep falling and falling until enough is enough, until you won out.
Basically sinking in the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
You can't swim. Basically like a One Piece character.
Oh, dude, it literally felt like, I remember it was like I was in almost like a hypnosis of just a dark whirlwind of just negativity.
It's basically like a genjutsu.
Huh?
You know what a genjutsu is?
What?
You know what a genjutsu is?
What's a genjutsu?
Never mind.
What is it?
It's from Naruto. It's basically like genjutsu, basically like a trance, like hallucination. Basically being put in a trance of like it could be anything. It could be just like the same thing, like living your life over and over, like basically like hell.
Yeah.
Basically living and suffering for eternity. That's basically what it is. But it doesn't only have to be suffering.
Yeah.
It can
And we essentially, I feel personally that we are the creators of our world around us. For example, like I can create my own hell. I can create my own heaven. It's up to me. It's all up to my internal factors, my internal beliefs. So speaking of internal beliefs, how are you dealing with your internal beliefs? Because we know you battle with depression. Why do you think you battle with depression?
I battle with depression?
Yeah. Why do you battle? Why do you think you battle with depression? And what is your internal beliefs?
What is an eternal belief?
Like beliefs that you believe in yourself, or believe about yourself.
Or what do I believe about myself? What I believed about myself was, or what I wouldn't say I really do now, because I'm obviously getting over it, but let's just say in past presence, what I did believe about myself was I was unsmart, I was not good looking, I was annoying, I was just this guy that just, it's basically like one of those dudes at a party. It's like really loud and obnoxious, and no one basically like the guy standing in the corner with like a drink, and everyone's having a good time. You're just standing there in the corner with a drink all awkwardly. Yeah, that's what I thought of myself was. I was basically like all alone when I had like tons of people by my side, but like I basically called myself a lone wolf and a wanderer and stuff, and I basically was just this big nobody that no one really cared to recognize. Like basically just have my hood up. Just walk past people and no one would even recognize me.
Yeah, there's an old saying: you can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely.
Yeah, and I can confirm. I had my grandma with me and stuff. I had all my friends. I even had a girlfriend at the time, and I still felt like nobody cared and nobody was there for me. And what I started to realize was it's not that the people around you aren't there for you and stuff. The person that you're missing out of your life is you.
Dude, that's solid, bro. That is solid. Good stuff.
So, yeah.
What have you been reading?
Nothing. I just came up with that. That's the inner wiseness that I hide.
Inner wisdom.
Yeah.
Nice. I got a bunch of books that you need to read, dude. I really think you should check.
God, I cannot read.
I love reading.
I know how to read, obviously, but I can't sit still.
Yeah, most people can't.
I'm just like
most people these days are watching videos and stuff like that.
I can do audiobooks.
I can't do audiobooks. I have to have it physically in my hand, and I have to like turn the page, smell the book, read the words. Books smell good. Yeah. Books smell good. I don't know why.
A new fresh
But I
book.
can't stare at a screen. I can't do audiobooks, and I can't do digital books.
Well, I mean
long digital books.
I'll just read audio, but how it works for me is I won't look at the screen. I'll just listen to audiobook and play with a ball or something, just throw it up in the air and just, I don't know, do something that, it's basically it's kind of like a life hack, basically you're doing I saw this thing, basically this guy was playing video games on his phone while he was on a treadmill, on a bike thing, and he was basically killing time on the video game because his brain was focused on that, and he was getting exercise in for hours on end. Life hack.
While playing video games. Makes sense, yeah. Turning your
you're basically tricking. You're basically a mind trick.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I'm actually reading Atomic Habits right now, and he talks about James Clear talks about turning it into turning your old hat or your something that you dread to do, turning it into something that's exciting.
Yeah.
Some way, somehow. So that makes sense. So, okay, what have you worked on since the last episode?
What have I worked on?
Yeah.
Self-improvement.
Ooh, okay. What have you been doing for self-improvement?
Well, like I said, just been not focusing on the negatives. I've basically just been focusing on myself. I I was in a relationship, then I got out of it because, well, first of all, I wasn't even ready, and I was too stupid to. I was being stupid, you know, like I was just being like really.
Wouldn't say stupid. Let's say impulsive. Let's say impulsive.
Yeah.
Let's say impulsive.
I was just being, you know, just blind, and I wasn't focused on me. I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready for a relationship. Let me give all my needs to her, and not do anything for myself, which I do that a lot in every relationship. But I need like serious time like by myself, and so I'm basically just, you know, not really thinking about girls much. That helps, and I'm also not focusing on negative stuff, and I'm also just appreciating myself for the little things.
You do. You're practicing the law of gratitude.
Yeah.
What are some of the things off your top of your head that you're appreciative of?
So I am appreciative of my looks. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't want to be that guy.
You're a strapping young lad.
But I'm appreciative of my hair. Not the haircut that I have right now. We don't talk about that. But I'm appreciative of like my hair and stuff. I'm appreciative of my voice, I guess. You know, I got a pretty nice deep voice. I'm appreciative of I guess my height. Shortness doesn't really bother me. I honestly like being short. Kind of like not too short, but I like being like, you know, I'm like 5'3". It's fun by me, but yeah, I'm good. That's good. And my eye color and stuff, just, you know, little things like that.
It's good.
My personality.
Yeah, dude, you got an awesome personality. And yeah, the focus on those things, dude, on everything that is like health, wealth, and mindset. Focus on those things, dude. Be grateful for those things that you have in your life, and you will, dude, I'm telling you, you just feel so much more at ease, and just everything just starts coming at you naturally and beautifully and like lovingly. And it's always a choice to remain in depression, right? Yeah, I take that back, actually. I take that back, because depression can be something where we get stuck into for months. And that's the trick, is not to get stuck, forcing yourself. What I use whenever my depression, what I do, whenever I find like sometimes I'll stay in it for a week, right? I'll allow myself to be there. I won't fight it. I just go through the motions. I go through the emotions that I'm feeling, right? And I accept them. I don't fight them. But whenever it starts taking a hindrance on my family time, my work time, and stuff like that, that's when I start using it as a motivation. Okay, I need to nip this in the bud. I need to go harder. I need to focus more on positivity. I need to focus more on my health, wealth, and mindset, and to hopefully kick it. And it helps with me whenever I do that. I'm not saying that that's going to help everybody, but it helps with me whenever I do that. And I use it as a motivation, especially whenever I'm in a rut, to, okay, I've been here before. Let's go hard. Let's go hard. I start working out harder. I start skating more. I start spending more time with family. I start putting myself around people, right? And in a way, because it's like you don't want to, when you're putting yourself around other people, you don't want to be the negative Nancy in the room, right? Yeah. So you're kind of forced to act positive, right? And when you do that, you're tricking your brain. Again, in a life hack, you're tricking your brain to start being more positive. And then when you get back home, you're like, that wasn't so bad. I actually had a pretty good day. And then you create more and more of that. And then you start slowly getting out of that rut, right? Because it's okay to be there. It's okay to be in that cycle and let those emotions flow. But getting stuck there months, 6 months, a year on in, that's where it's like, okay, it's going to start becoming unhealthy. And that's what we don't want. And then you start stressing and creating all types of other stuff in you.
Yeah, the depression is probably, like, in my opinion, one of the worst things that a human can ever go through.
Dude.
'Cause, like,
it's deep.
I've been going through depression for ever since like 6th grade. Like ever since everything ever since everything happened, like since 6th grade, like that's a long time that I've been going through it. I'm getting better, obviously now I'm chilling. But like at that point, I just considered myself as dead, because like I was basically taking the easy way out. I was basically at rock bottom, so I basically considered myself as a ghost. I wasn't even human. Well, I wasn't being human, like
right.
So
living.
Yeah, I basically, that's what I consider as death. Basically, is just not being human. You're just separating yourself from the universe.
Yeah, that's a dark stage to be in for sure. I've definitely done that, and I don't miss it at all, for sure.
Nope,
And it is hard to get out of. It is hard to get out of. You just gotta flip that switch somehow, some way in you where it's like enough is enough. I'm not doing this no more. I've got to change this habit, and I highly recommend Atomic Habits by James Clear. That is I don't know why it took me so long to pick that book up, and I've heard over and over and over again by everybody that I associate with, read Atomic Habits, it's a great book. And it is, dude, I'm only in like the 3rd chapter, and I've already learned so much and wrote down so much, and I'm like, and putting it into practice, I'm like, this is great stuff.
You know what book I still have?
What?
I still have that book that you mailed to me, The Nibble Theory.
The Nibble Theory?
Yeah, I still have that book.
That's a great one, too.
I want to try to read it again because I read it when I was a little kid, and I was like, oh, my God, I understand this. No, I didn't understand a single thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it about self-improvement?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It's literally, it's what Simon Sinek says about finding your why, essentially. When you find your why, then everything else will just come to. Find your why in everything. Always ask questions. I tell you this all the time. Ask yourself questions. Like if you're feeling good, especially if you're feeling good or if you're feeling bad, either or, ask yourself why. Why am I feeling good? Okay, this is making me feel good. I need to do more of that. Okay, this is making me feel bad. Maybe I shouldn't do that more often. Or why am I feeling like this? And you just keep asking questions and peeling the layers of the onion and get to the core of the problem. And then 9 times out of 10 for me, I always realized once I got to the core, I'm like, holy crap, I'm creating the problem in my mind. There really is no problem, right? It's me creating the problem. Relationships, dude. I was creating the problem in my relationship by the thinking, by my past traumas and by my repetitive negative thinking, right? And also expectations. Another thing too that I've been working on since we made the last episode that a dear listener had brought to my attention about me only wanting to express, or I'm letting my ego express myself or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I read that and I'm like, okay, that I can see that. Right. So I started doing some self-reflection and I had realized, okay, I'm getting out of my humble zone and I'm starting to be more self-important, if you will, right? Like I'm focusing on myself and my goals, right? Instead of allowing my goals to just manifest on their own by me not pushing them, but by me staying true to them to an extent. But at the same time, it was just, I had realized that I was letting my ego start running the show. And so I needed to step back. I meditated for like a week straight, like not a week straight, but like I meditated for a long time on this topic, on my ego and, breathing and just realizing, okay, I need to get back to humble Nate and really focusing on not just the end result, but also the journey, right? And so that's what I'm doing. I'm stepping back a little bit and I'm just letting things go the way that they're going to go instead of forcing them and being egotistic about it, right? Being flaunted of self-improvement, because that's not it. And that's another thing too. Like, I'm not trying to come off like I know everything. I don't know anything, dude. All I know is my experience that I went through, that you went through, that we're going through, and how can we continue to learn through these experiences that we're learning and not stop learning, right? And continue to grow. And also just being able to express ourselves, the way we want to, however we want to, and continuing to grow and learn from that.
It's like people are always like I know I know almost everything. Like, no, you don't know nothing. The only thing you know is yourself. And if you don't know yourself, then you're not living.
No, yeah, exactly. And if you don't know yourself, then you absolutely know nothing, right?
Like you're just
I can't remember who it was, but yeah, there was
a
quote.
A caveman.
There was a quote said, I can't remember who it was. I want to say Aristotle or something like that, but I don't think it was Aristotle. It's something like that. but he's like, to know God is to know thyself, or to know thyself is to know God, or the universe, right? It's like when you know yourself and you can step back and be humble about it and not from the ego. I believe that 100%. 100%. So that's what I've been working on is my ego. And of course I'm acceptance of my ego, because my ego is part of us, right? That's the external self, if you will, right? It's not necessarily the I, but it's the point of consciousness where it's like I'm important, or I feel deserving of this, or whatever, right? That's part of the ego. Okay. So for the next episode, dude, I really want you to do your homework. Come up with 3 questions that you're asking yourself, that you're working on throughout between now and the next episode. And then answer those 3 questions, find out your why, and then come up with 3 questions for me, and I'll come up with 3 questions from you, and 3 answers of my self-reflection, if you will. Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we got homework.
Bro, school hasn't even started either, and I'm getting into high school.
Hey, get prepared, right? Get prepared. I've definitely seen, just from now and then, I've seen a huge change already. I feel like our bond is getting back to the way it used to be, and even stronger. So super stoked, man. I love this. Let's keep it going. Homework next week. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into the Free Thought Generation podcast. We greatly appreciate it. Until the next episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and give us a comment. We'd love to engage with you guys. Until then.
Until next time, mi amigos. Wow, 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 wow.
Total improvement, man. All right, I love it. All right, guys, later.
We home alone with dad, so we make our own lunch. I can eat what I want, so we pick the best munch. I grab the ham and chocolate chips and stick 'em in the bread. They ask what kind of sauce I want. I say maple and red.